This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. As always, my best mate down in Melbourne, freezing cold down there yet, mate. It was bloody brisk last week when we were down there. Yeah, I was actually a bit of a shock to the system, to be fair. So how you going, mate? How's it been down there so far?
Thanks, mate. You were walking around like a true Queenslander saying, geez, it's a bit cold here, when me and Kim were like, it's actually not too bad. Today was a pretty good day.
Nah.
But no, it's actually pretty good. And looking at the weather, which I actually looked at today, earlier today, it's meant to be 24. So this is from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 25, 21, 27, 27. And then the rest of the week in the low to middle 20s, which you don't usually get this time of year. We're usually on the decline and it's getting cold. But it's been nice weather, mate.
I must say, like, I think it was top of 18 degrees on Saturday at the G. And, mate, we don't get 18 degrees overnight here at the moment. So I was freezing. Like, you can imagine what it was overnight. It was probably 10 or something ridiculous.
Oh,
but yeah.
That doesn't change. The mornings don't change, mate. The mornings stay cold, as you remember in Melbourne. It's just the peak of the day. It's getting good, and which is great because I'm getting out. I'm in a really good training block at the moment, which is great, which means I'm getting a bit of sun, because if I wasn't training at the moment and I returned in the middle of June, I'd be white as anything. So, I'm a bit pumped that the sun's out. But you did mention, obviously, you were down in Melbourne. It was great to catch up with you on Friday, mate.
Yeah, it was good, mate. It's been such a long time, and I guess the time we spend away from each other, it's always nice to catch up, especially when it we haven't seen each other in quite some time. So loved it, mate, and hope to do it again soon.
I certainly do too, mate. I gave it a solid 12.5 out of 20. So I was
12.5.
Yeah, that wasn't my end. So I gave it a 7.5 and Kim gave it a 5. So she was a little bit disappointed because she got steak though. It's more of a...
Well, that's what I'm... Hang
on. Exactly. Hey, I said the same.
She's got a steak.
Yes.
And you got... What did you get? You got pasta?
I got pasta and we had, obviously, garlic pizza.
It's an Italian restaurant, mate. Come on.
I know, mate.
You can't be doing that.
I know. I told her. I said, you can't be ranking it that bad because you got a steak at an Italian joint. But anyway, I gave it a 7.5. But it was better than our dinner on Saturday night, I must admit, at the Kolkata Cricket Club, which I was that excited about, mate. I loved it. I love like Indian cuisine. Loved it. Gave it what did I give it? I gave it a 7.5. Kimmy gave it a 2.
A 2?
Only because, and in fairness to Kim, she's never really been a fan of Indian food. So she was doing me a great favor in letting me pick the restaurant for the weekend. So I do appreciate that. The Kolkata Cricket Club at Crown, I thought your food was unbelievable, and I'll be back there. I'll bring the boys with me next time. But it looks like you're looking at something. What do you want to read to me?
I'm looking at something because someone actually commented on our YouTube video saying Kolkata is a place in India, so that's where the name would be from. So there you go. That's why the restaurant's called what it is.
I was meant to ask actually why they call it the cricket club as well, because it's a little bit strange. It's called cricket club when it's a restaurant.
Well, if Lenza142 on YouTube can tell us why it would be called the Kolkata Cricket Club, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah. Please do. How was your weekend anyway? Your week, I should say. How was it?
Yeah.
Prior to last time speaking to you.
Nah, it was good. It was nice to get down to Melbourne, see yourself, and obviously mum and dad, who I haven't seen in quite a while as well. So they came and stayed at the same hotel that we were staying at the night before. So after dinner with you and Kimmy and Georgie, I went and went back and had some yochi with mum and dad and got to catch up on a few things and see them. So it's hard, I guess, when you're living interstate or whatever, like living away and that you don't see them a lot and they've got work and the farm and whatnot down in Yarram. It's nice to be able to see them and spend some time with them. But then at the end of the day, after the game, we literally said goodbye and it's like, don't know when we're going to see each other again. But it was tough, but it's good. It's good, great to see him. And other than that, the week was pretty normal, mate. Other than actually, I played golf on Sunday, so we went back Saturday night. So I played my first round of golf in 4 years with my brother Kaiser. Like I said last week, I got the new golf clubs behind me from Drummond Golf, Wollongabba, and Kaiser beat me by 2 shots, unfortunately.
Mate, that is the funniest thing. Well, firstly, I know how much you miss your family, and it is a great joy when you get to be around them. I see it when I see you guys together. I love Panda and Lise, and I just missed them. I wanted to give them both a big hug, but I know they listen, so I love you both. Secondly, that is hilarious because you know full well that I actually played golf on Friday for the first time in 2.5 years, I reckon. I played a round of golf at Brighton Golf Club. So how'd you go? Do you know what your score was for the round? And how many holes did you play?
Played 18. So we went, mate, I started like an absolute house on fire. My second hole was a birdie. I birdied the second hole at Menippi Golf Course, which I guess is a bit of a beginner's golf course, but it's still a good golf course up here. And birdied the second hole. Mate, I think I went around the first 9, I was about 46. The second 9, 58. So struggled on the second 9. So I went 104.
Well, you would have absolutely slaughtered both Cooper and I because I played with Coop. My whole aim for the day, we played 9 holes, didn't go the full 18, played 9 holes. My whole goal of the day was to just hit a par for one of the holes. And all the way up to hole 9, the best we'd hit was a double bogey, the both of us. Mind you, haven't played golf in 2 years. Anyway, last hole was a par 9, 420 meters, I think it was. So it was the biggest hole of the course. And I parred it. I was that pumped, mate. I was so happy. I was that happy I wanted to go another 9, but it was funny it was quite funny because when I was chatting to the boys today after seeing them, and that's another thing, I haven't seen the boys since, Thursday because they went to go to Perth and today was the first day back training. So that's a whole 5 days basically. And they asked me, what'd you get up to? And I said to a few of them, I actually played golf. And mate, you could have seen their jaws drop all the way down to the floor. They couldn't believe it because obviously I'm someone who doesn't play golf. So, maybe that means you and I, when we get together next, down in Melbourne, up in Queensland, we can play some golf together.
100% we'll be versing each other. That is a absolute given. We'll be on bragging rights for sure.
You would smash me. Speaking of smashing, I'm going to give you a weekly update of how my wonderful under-17 team goes, and I know you already know with the smile on your face. But we played round 1 on Sunday, and my boys played against Rowville. So Rowville basically are the best team in under-17s Eastern Footy League, and they've got quite a few good players. And put it this way, the game was over at quarter time. We lost by about 150 points, but in saying that, I still had great fun. I know the boys in the team had great fun, and we took plenty of learnings from it. And now we know as a group, because as I've said to you and for the listeners out there, my team that I'm coaching, I don't think have ever played Division 1 football. So this is their first year of playing Division 1 football, and their exposure is against the best team straight away. So there was a lot of things that we practiced in the preseason that we tried to put in place into the game, but clearly Rowville were just so much better than us, and they're a very well-drilled team. But I can't wait to update you on the weekly and see how we improve, because I will not be surprised if we shock some teams and hopefully get a few wins here and there.
We need to get a big crowd down to one of these games or a couple of these games this year, because I'm sure the boys in your team would love to see a few fans there cheering them on, especially against someone that maybe that might be their first win. So you've got to tell us on the podcast if it's going to be a chance that you're going to get a win that week. Make sure you let us know, and we'll try and get a heap of people down there to watch.
I will, mate. I'll update you. And again, I second what you just said, because there would be, I could probably name maybe 4 boys that would love a crowd. They would absolutely love a crowd. They would put on a show. So I'll keep you updated. But what about before we get into our our footy stuff? Your game. I want to talk about your game.
Mm-hmm.
Good, obviously a great result. But because I'm not playing, I like diving into your game a little bit more, obviously, and getting a bit of an insight. How'd you feel out there? Obviously, I know from afar it was quite a frustrating game to watch, to be honest. I obviously watch you closely all the time, and I know how you always. Well, I know how you are. I kind of know what the answer will be, but yeah, it was just a frustrating watch because I feel like there's probably bits of the game where you guys might have taken your foot off the pedal a little bit and let Richmond back into it. Maybe I'm looking at that wrong, but that's kind of how it felt watching. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if we took the foot off the pedal. It's probably more we let ourselves down in certain moments of the game. And, when we did get on top in that third quarter, I think we were 55 points up at one point. To let them kick the last few goals of the quarter, or a couple of goals of the quarter, after we'd built such a great foundation, that was disappointing. And a lot of the stuff we're talking about, a bit of urgency on defense, or, your man's there, like close him down. Like, it's just little things in detail in the game. And I guess against the better teams, well, I'm not saying Richmond are bad, but I think Richmond, obviously everyone knows that the Tigers are in a sort of rebuilding phase, and credit to them. Like, they brought the heat, the pressure, the contest that they did on the day. They were really, really good. And Richmond fans, if we have any that listen to the podcast, like, get excited about your future, because you've got so many good young players in that team that are going to be absolute stars of the competition in a couple of years' time. So don't take anything away from them. I thought that they played a really good brand, but unfortunately we just didn't get that consistent footy that we were after. We probably still haven't played that consistent game yet. So I got asked on radio the other day where I sort of thought we were at, and in terms of our capability, and 100 out of 100, Lee Montagna said, out of 100, where do you think you're playing at the moment? And I was like, probably 75. Like, I feel like we're 3/4 of the way there. We've been getting better each week. Very fortunate to be 4-0. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's great to have all these little learnings and things that we can still get better at over the next few weeks, and hopefully get that complete game soon.
Oh, I certainly agree. I guess I look at it from a frustrated point of view, because I am basically a fan and I know what you guys can produce. So I guess hearing what you just said then, it's probably an exciting thing for the Brisbane Lion fans and you boys, knowing that you still have so much scope to improve, and the fact that you're 4-0 and you've won some really close games where you've been behind. So take that as a positive. Wanted to touch on like Hugh McGluggage. So reason why I want to is I feel like this will be a really good insight for young budding AFL potential players that listen to our potty. I feel like there's clearly, for him as a player, he's always been a gun offensive player, but I can probably sense there's been a bit of not a switch, because it's definitely not that, but just more of an onus on wanting to be a better, I guess, defensive player and really add that string to his bow. And I really feel like that's coming to the floor. And he started off the year, probably consistently with you being the best midfielder. Is that something that, a reason why I'm asking is because he's a superstar. Those kids out there, or those people out there who listen to our podcast, want to know what it's like for a superstar like Hugh McGluggage to have a bit of an insight on what his mindset might be, considering you're one of his teammates. Is that something that you've noticed from him and something that he's really wanted to improve on? Because it's clearly helping you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I think he started the year incredibly well. And I actually said the other day, yesterday in our team meeting, that the work that he's done behind the scenes to buy into, I'm not saying he wasn't buying into it prior, but he's trying to improve his defensive side of his game. And mate, his tackling's gone to a new level. Like, I think he had 12 or so tackles on the weekend. His defensive running and stuff, his two-way stuff's been elite. Like he's leading the way for our team and showing us all how it's done. So he's put in a lot of work. He's been asking myself questions about things that I think about when we don't have the footy and where am I running and doing this and that. And it's just great that someone of his caliber, as you've mentioned, is still looking to improve, and not only with the ball, like we know how good he is with the ball, but defensively as well. And I think that's what makes the good teams great in the end. Like all our players are starting to buy into that side of the game, and Huey's really leading the way for us in that space.
Yeah, I think it's a really important message for, as I said, those young, and you don't even have to be young or even budding AFL player, but someone who plays footy at the local level or wherever it may be. It is so important that, that side of your game should be and is as important as your offensive side, because as you said, mate, it makes you probably more respected within the industry, so within the competition, and secondly, you clearly have more of an impact on the game if you're not only just getting kicks, marks, and handballs. So for me, it's been clearly evident, and I think it's really cool to see someone of his caliber, as you said, basically be another version of you, mate. Like that's obviously what you've delivered from the get-go. So to see one of your teammates do that, it's awesome to see, and I think it's a really cool little insight into him.
Yeah, for sure. I second everything you just said. Like it's awesome to see him doing that, and awesome to see him doing it at his age. And he could easily just be like, nah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and get better at whatever I'm doing. But he's looking elsewhere and trying to improve. So it's a good message to preach to the younger kids out there.
Yeah, it is. You find a lot of people, as you said, go through their career and they probably stay the same. So that's elite. Our bloom of the week, I was going to forget to do it, but we've always got to do it at the start. Got to do it at the start.
Yep. Yep.
So Brookes Bloom of the week.
Speaking of Brookes Bloom of the week, we're going to get Brooke on a bit later in the podcast, or actually quite soon, to talk about a few things. Obviously, her life, but also a few things that she's doing at the moment up here in Brisbane, which would touch a few people. I reckon it's unbelievable stuff Brooke's been doing. So you move on to your bloom of the week, mate.
Too. I think before we say the bloom of the week, for what it's worth, the feedback we got from last week's guest, Taylor Williams, was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Was awesome. Oh, mate, it was so many people reaching out about what a great story she has, but how inspirational she is. So loved it. Loved the feedback from her. So thank you, everyone, for sending it in. Brooks Bloom of the week, mate. I just can't go past my horse racing. And there's a horse that you and I were both that keen on in the Doncaster. We both spoke about it on the Friday. You didn't get to watch it. Oh, so we both spoke about it on the Friday. But Steffi Magnetica, she's a big. I know she's one of your favourite horses because every time she races, you always back her. Every time, and that's going back 2 years ago. You've always backed her. You've basically convinced me to back her every time, and we were that confident on her on Saturday, and she got the job done. So she's my bloom of the week. She's my bloom of the week.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have actually come up with that, but I've stuck to the footy world. And I think this young player, and your team played against him on the weekend, I've been very impressed with Freo's small forwards. And Murphy Reid, to me, is going to be an absolute star. Like just the way that he is around the ball, like his smarts in general, like he's going to be a player for Freo for a long period of time. And hopefully they can retain him because, mate, I rate him very, very highly. Like even his pressure and stuff, his chase pressure and the defensive side of the game, I love that. And we just talked about it, but he's been really good to start the year. And I'm sure he's going to be up there at the end of the year in terms of the rising star talk. So he's my bloom of the week this week.
I did see, and I agree with you, I did see a ranking list for just the rookie rankings, and like there's every right to have obviously Levi Ashcroft, Sam Lawler 1 and 2, but he was actually number 1, Reid. So I agree, mate. It was a bit of a pain in the ass because he freaking dominated on the weekend again, and he's going to be a superstar for a very long time. My other, and I'm going to do another Brooks Bloom of the week. I'm doing 2. My other one was actually going to be the Firebirds as well. So our Firebirds girls got off to a ripping start to the season, and I could be wrong. They might have won last year's round 1, but I seem to feel that they seemed no, they didn't actually, because it was Kim's believe it was Kim's 150th, and I was there. So, yes, they
lost by 1
haven't
point.
started off the year well. Yes, they did. They haven't started the year off well often. So to start the year off well the way they did, awesome to see. So that's my other Brookes Bloom of the week.
It's a good one, mate. I probably should have said that myself, but I forgot. So my bad.
You're right, mate.
Moving on to the footy. A few big results again this week. Was there anything that popped up in your mind that you thought that you'd love to discuss on the potty this week? I know you don't like to be controversial, but we like to hear a few things from.
Nothing controversial. All right, go.
I've got one.
You go.
I've got one.
Yep.
My Adelaide Crows boys were absolutely robbed on the weekend, mate. Absolutely robbed again. That's for, I think there's 4 times now that they've been robbed at the end of games, and geez. I saw that after we played because I didn't see.
What's your thoughts? Tell me. No, was it a mark or was it a free kick?
I think it was a free kick because, like we've all had marks where we've marked it, but then you sort of. I was actually talking to Sammy Day about this today. Like there were moments on the weekend where I had a mark, but you relax when you think you've got the mark, and then all of a sudden someone comes and hits the ball out. Like, I feel like that's what Rankin did. He almost relaxed, and then the ball came out, and then he just got tackled. And, I think it should have been a free kick. So, disappointing there. But for the AFL to come out again and say that it should have been a free kick paid would have been frustrating for the Crows boys, because I know that they've had 4 or so incidents now where, they've ran into trouble. So, disappointing. But that's one thing I wanted to point out.
Well, I do think if Adelaide again miss the finals by percentage or one game, then it's obviously going to be a big one for them. But they're clearly, in my mind, not going to, because they're that good of a team. But it was certainly, my opinion is it was a free kick. I feel like he didn't hold it long enough, but it was definitely a free kick. But I guess we move on. Gold Coast Suns, for what it's worth, what are they? 3-0. They are freaking flying.
Mm-hmm.
They are flying. But I did want to mention a team that surprised, I think, a lot of people, and certainly surprised, the media, is St Kilda. They're playing so freaking well. They are playing very well. I think no one would have really tipped them to beat Port Adelaide over in Adelaide. I mean, they played in Adelaide in round 1, and Adelaide were able to, get a hold of them. But for them to come out and play the way they did, unreal. And you talk about, you obviously mentioned Richmond before about some of their young players coming through, but mate, looking at St Kilda, they have an exciting group of players who can do some special things. And I'll keep raving on about his kicking, but Wanganeen Miller's kicking is arguably best in the competition, mate. It would be up there as the best in the comp easily. When he gets the ball, something special happens.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And we were actually talking about the Saints this morning when we were on the phone to each other. But you said to me how I think it was 2 Port Adelaide players got coaches' votes before any St Kilda player. And that to me resembles like team performance. And if you're a Saints fan, that's what I reckon is going to be the most exciting thing for you, is that everyone's playing together. There's an even contribution across the board. Like, I'm actually just looking at the stats now, and there was a lot of Saints players that were really, really well performed, but not at the top of the ranking, I guess you could say. So that's a great sign for the St Kilda, and they're going to be tough to beat in the coming weeks. I think we've got them in about 3 weeks' time, so it's going to be a great contest.
Yeah, we've got them too. And again, you just mentioned obviously stats there, but I think Jack Sinclair and Wanganeen Miller had the same, but their 25 is, mate, the equivalent to freaking someone having 45. Like, they're just so damaging with the ball that you just can't give them time and space. And if you do, they're going to cut you up, and they have. And they're exciting to watch. Like, I actually look forward to watching St Kilda play. I mean, who do they have this week? They've got the Giants, mate. That'll be an unbelievable game because the Giants are freaking absolutely flying at the moment. But, I mean, our game, I'll touch on our game a little bit. It's a little bit frustrating because I feel like we've really let 2 games slip. Obviously, the Collingwood game and then this game. I feel like the stats say, and stats aren't the be all and end all, but we dominated a large chunk of the game. I think we beat them by plus 15, maybe, and inside 50s. We certainly had opportunities, but we just didn't ultimately give ourselves a chance. And if it wasn't, quite frankly, if it wasn't for Sam Darcy, mate, we probably would have lost by a lot more. He was freaking incredible all game, but it's just one of those frustrating ones that we're right there, really close. We're playing really good, but then we have periods where we drop off. That second quarter with 10 minutes to go, we really, really dropped off. We allowed Freo to use the ball, which they do really well from stoppage. They use their hands probably as much as anybody in the competition, and they get through, led by, Caleb Sarong, who by far and away was the best player on the ground. We just allowed them to do that, and that really ultimately was too hard to catch in the end. So we had a really good review today. It was a great review in terms of where we can improve, and the footy that we are playing at our best is hard to play against. We've just got to be able to sustain that.
Yeah, it was a good watch. I watched the whole game because obviously it's the Brookes Blooms Cup this week. But it was a nice, I think you summed it up pretty well. Like, you had moments to take it away from them, but then at the same time, Freo just kept getting not easy scores, but scores that you would have been frustrated with as a team, I reckon.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a tough one. They obviously lost a couple of players late that keys to their big cogs in their machine, I guess, if you call it. And I'm sure that they'll be wrapped with the win, but you guys will be very disappointed. So looking forward to obviously moving on and playing us this week, which would be a great matchup, which we'll go into soon. But positive signs, mate, I would say. Like, it's been an incredible start for you boys, even though you've had the injuries that you've had. So I wouldn't say it's too disappointing.
No, well, always optimistic. I love it. Before we move on to whatever we move on to next, I also want to give shout outs to players who bide their time and then come in. And this should be a reminder. This has to be a reminder. We're doing a bit of a motivational podcast here, which is great. But this has to be a reminder to players out there who are playing state league footy, who are playing local footy, who have aspirations to play VFL and even Sandford, Waffle, whatever it may be, to not give up on your dreams, because I'm seeing players run around. Melbourne had a few the other week, but there's a player at Sydney named Riley Bice who I've watched him play a couple times now, watching him on the weekend for Sydney, and they won convincingly. He was easily the best player on the ground. He's the best player on the ground by a mile. His left foot, unreal. And it just makes you think, like, how do these players slip through the cracks? Like, what happens for them to slip through to take 6-7 years to get drafted? And then he gets drafted and now he's playing unbelievable football. Like, it just blows your mind. So it is a reminder, stick at it. Stick at it. Your dream's never over. When you see a player like Riley Bice come out and have such an impact already for a team that played in the grand final last year, it's great to see for the game of football.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget, like, the luck that's involved to get drafted. Like, most people have got to be injury free. Like, your childhood, you've got to have come through the ranks. Like, you've got to be under the eyes of recruiters, under the eyes of coaches that are well connected with people. Like, there's so much that goes into getting drafted and then getting into games like of AFL football. So it doesn't surprise me that guys like him are slipping through the cracks, because I feel like it's pot luck at times to be able to get drafted at 18 years old and live out your dream. Yep. Whereas someone like him, like, I reckon he's going to be a successful AFL player because he's had to go through the ringer. He knows what it's like to work full time, and he knows, being on the tools or whatever he was doing before he played footy. Like, he's actually he's worked really hard for this. So I don't think he's going to take it for granted. I think as you said, he played really well on the weekend, and that's only going to continue for him.
No, I certainly agree. It's great to see. I love seeing it. Even there's a photo the other day, I think, who was it? I think it might have been the Geelong player, Sean Manay, and one of his one of his ex-Werribee teammates. I think it was Jack Henderson, maybe. Yes, it was Jack Henderson. The cool little photo of him presenting the best on ground in the VFL, and then they played against it. Like, that's really cool to see. And as I said, you should never think that your dream's over if you have a willingness to want to work and get there. Geez, we're motivational, aren't we?
Yeah. We are. Hey, before we go on to the next thing, we'll talk about our MVP award. So I want you to give me what you think it should be called, because last week we sent out a challenge to the fans. to say, send in your best name for this award. So before we do our 3, 2, 1s, I want you to choose what you want it to be called. So the first one I've got here that's pretty good is the Bloomin' Dunkalore Award. That's one.
That's the winner. That's the winner. I don't want to hear anything else. There you go. That's the winner.
Someone else has gone the Dunkalore Trophy. There's another one for you.
Yep.
The other one's called the Trelunkley Trophy. Which is great. And then someone else actually had a great idea to call it like after a Brisbane/Bulldogs player. So, for example, the Adcock MVP, because he was at Brisbane and he went to the Bulldogs and played a few games at both. So you could call it the Acker Award. That's another one.
Yep.
Or
the Dunkley Award.
The Dunkley Award, the handstand cup, whatever you want to call it. So, mate, you choose. Out of those ones, you choose one.
Well, I feel like my reaction said it all. The first one.
The Dunkalore. The Bloomin' Dunkalore.
No, that's it. The Bloomin' Dunkalore Award.
All right.
Can we agree? Can we agree on that?
Yep. We sure can. So I've just got to find who sent that one in.
Okay. Well, whilst you're finding it, I may as well give me 3, 2, 1. My 3 votes. I'll start with my 3. Goes to Big Jesse Hogan. I think this is an obvious one. He was unreal. I mean, you don't like to look into stats, mate, but you don't have to look at his stats to realise he was unbelievable. Kicked 9 goals straight. Could have kicked 10 too, but he was too unselfish, which speaks volumes of him as a character. So I gave him my 3 votes. My 2 votes, it was a hard one because it was against my team, and it was Caleb Sarong. I watched that game basically from start to finish, and in my opinion, he was a large part of the reason why we didn't win the game. I feel like his midfield stuff was unreal. Yep. He really hurt us. So I gave him my 2 votes. My 1 vote was a hard one. I was tossing and turning, but I feel like because he kind of wound back the clock a lot on Friday night as Georgie walks in. And I'm going to give it to Patrick Dangerfield. I feel like Patrick Dangerfield was, wound back the clock. So here's my 1 vote.
Yep, I like that. So for those that need to know, at 94, mate, is our winner for this week's the Bloomin' Dunkalore Award. So thank you for sending that in. My 3, 2, 1 this week was very similar to you. I had Jesse Hogan for 3 votes, and I actually had Riley Bice, who you mentioned, for 2. And then for 1 vote, I've got a Geelong player, not Danger, but I think this guy goes under the radar a lot, and it's Zach Guthrie. Mate, his ability to just find a way and intercept mark and do all the little things that not many people would notice, like unbelievable. You'd love to have him in your team. Like, he's such a great player, a clear standout for me on the night, and he gets my 1 vote this week.
I think he took 17 marks as well, from what I believe, which is a nice tally. A couple honourable mentions. I'll mention Sam Darcy has to be in there. He was unreal. Wanganeen Miller and Jack Sinclair, as I said, were awesome. For what it's worth, Jason Horne-Francis in a losing side was unreal. He was a large part of the reason why they were really close. And then I'll also give some love to your boy Huey. I feel like, he was awesome in that win as well. All right, well, it's probably about time we zip it and shut up. We've been talking a little bit too much now because it's our favourite time now to bring our special guest on. And this one is extra special for you and I because she means a lot to us, and she supported us from the very from 2 years ago, basically. And she's become a near and dear friend of ours, Brooke. We've actually got our little segment we do, Brookes Blooms, Player of the Week or whatever it may be of the week. So we are very excited to have her on as a guest, and we cannot wait to talk to her. She's coming to us from New Zealand as well. So really excited to have her on.
All right, Adsy, we've got Brooke on the line. She's been kind enough to join us from New Zealand. Brooke, thanks for joining us. How are you going over there? I think it's pretty late over there, isn't it?
Yeah, 9 o'clock. I've stayed up for you both.
I love
You're
the
too
hey
good.
Brooke. I love the scarf. Thank you so much for wearing the Bulldog scarf. I know.
Blooms
No,
Cup
you're a
this
proud Bulldogs
weekend.
girl. So it is a Blooms Cup. So thanks for the scarf.
You're
No, it
welcome,
is a
Ads.
Blooms Cup. Thanks for joining us, Brookie. We'll kick it off. We sort of want to know a little bit about you, and we obviously talk about you a lot on the podcast because you are one of our major sponsors, our nearest and dearest, and you care about us a lot. And for those that don't know, talk to us a little bit about your journey. Talk to us a little bit, sort of how you started out. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but we want to get everyone involved and get to know you a little bit better.
Me, myself, I'm a horticulturalist. Love my gardening, love my Australian native plants. And I started doing my passion when I was like 16 years old. And, a few years later, I worked for a few nurseries. And then through that, I decided to go out on my own and started maintaining people's gardens. So just myself and had some amazing clients and just loved it. Very passionate about landscaping and seeing projects come to life. And from that, my business now, which is Brookes Blooms, has grown into quite a large company in Brisbane. And so we employ 130 staff, and it's a wild ride, but something I'm super passionate about, and got a great team that are just as passionate as me about horticulture and landscaping. So yeah, there's a lot that goes, in amongst all of that, but that's a little snippet of it, I guess.
You've basically given us a 20-year snippet into 20 seconds, 30 seconds of talking. I mean, you're very, very humble in what you're saying, Brooke. I mean, we're very fortunate and privileged to know you personally and know a little bit of your story. But along the way, you must have had some challenges, especially early on. You must have had some challenges that really stick out to you. And you must have had ways or times in your life where you would have been thinking, wow, this is, really hard. I guess it is a personal question, but what were things that you did to really keep you motivated and on the track that you wanted to go on?
I think what keeps me motivated is being passionate. Okay. So, I love horticulture, I love gardening. So, that is just my drive. I've found something that I really love. So, every day when I wake up, I am right, let's go. I'm having fun. I'm doing something that I really, really love. That doesn't mean that there hasn't been things along the way, the journey that have, set me back or challenged me. I think that I just love to get up each morning and see the day for what it is now, currently, and be around people that inspire me, be around lots of good people that encourage me to be like a better version of myself. So I haven't completed school. I didn't go to uni. I followed my dream as a horticulturalist at TAFE when I was 17, 18, and got my first job. Brookes Blooms was my third job. So, I don't have the usual upbringing that a lot of people say, you need to finish school, finish your degree, move on to uni. It just didn't sort of work out for me, which is a wonderful thing. It's landed me where I am today. But I think that also has had its challenges. I think that sometimes I can be a little bit uneducated, when I'm facing challenges. And that has always made me look for answers and try and find people that can support me to be better and learn and understand things in life and in business. When I first started Brookes Blooms, I had no idea about business. Again, I was just a passionate horticulturalist, and my drive to get up each day and, try and succeed is essentially what made the business grow. But you need to have a business background and understand how you can support that infrastructure. So there were huge challenges with that in the beginning, but I lent in, met the right people, got the right support around me, and learned a lot about business, learned a lot about how to deal with the challenges of business. And it's just a ride every day. And no, every year is completely different. I'm faced with new challenges. This has been a challenging year. We've had nothing but rain in Brisbane. We've had a cyclone come through. It's not ideal for landscaping. So you just need to know who are the right people to lean on when you need to. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing business, and we've been lucky to be involved over the last couple of years and see how how you run it. And I must say myself, like it's been inspirational to watch you and to see what you do, I guess, day to day. The amount of work that you do behind the scenes that not many people would know is incredible. But I wanted to get into your footy side now because I know you're wearing the Bulldog scarf there, but I want to know about your obsession for the Dogs and obviously talk about your dad, Jeff Jennings, and the AFL in general. Talk to us a little bit about where all that's come from. And yeah, you are a very passionate doggy supporter.
Yeah, well, Joshy, you'd be surprised to hear this, but when I was quite young, I did support the Lions when they won all those flags. Brisbane girl, rebellious from, the family and dad, and love the Lions. But as I grew up, my heart's gone back to, Footscray, Western Bulldogs. It's where I grew up. It's where I was born. It just holds great memories for me. It binds my family together. I talk to Dad every day about football, or my sisters, my brothers. It's what brings us all together. We just spent the weekend together watching footy. Unfortunately, didn't go to plan, but it happens. Watched your game, Joshy. Love watching you win. Love watching the Lions succeed. But very, very passionate Western Bulldogs supporter. Absolutely love it. I don't know. Footy just, I just got obsessed with it. I'm really busy with work. I'm constantly on the go. I don't get much time to myself. So when I do, it's, in the morning listening to your podcast, listening to other football podcasts, catching up on AFL 360, and then the weekend comes around, it's just back-to-back footy. I don't know. I just get, drawn into it. And a lot of people say that you just get caught up in the emotion of it all and you're so passionate. Wish we got the win on the weekend, ads. It was, one that got away, I think.
It certainly was one that got away, but it is a good insight because I reckon it'd be nice for people to actually hear your perspective and everything you're talking about with your footy and how you literally live and breathe footy. And for those listening, Brooke literally lives and breathes football. I mean, when we had our season launch this year, and I was very, very fortunate to have Brooke present me with my jumper, which I was very proud that she was up there and able to do that because you came down, obviously, and you flew down and you presented. But the fact that you basically knew every single player from Marcus Bontempelli all the way through to, Don Brew, who was training on at the time, who didn't unfortunately end up getting a full-time job for us, but you knew every single player. And it wouldn't be ridiculous to say that you've probably known every single player for the last 10 plus years because of your passion for the Western Bulldogs. I want to know, what do you think your friends and your family and everyone who knows you would think, or how would they describe you in a sentence or so with your football? How would they describe you?
Crazy. Nuts. Nuts. I don't know if you can hear my husband in the background, but like my sisters, I don't know if they let me watch football with my nephews and nieces. They do, but they try and say, just tone it down a little bit. But crazy. Love it. Like nuts.
I was actually thinking the other day, ads, when I was watching Dogs Freo, I wonder what it would be like watching the footy with Brooke, because I'd love to hear what she has to say. Like, I'm sure she would have cursed me a few times for missing set shots or whatever, but there's actually a funny story. There's a funny story. It's Troy in the background.
That's Troy's in the background.
Brooke sent me a message when I got traded. Did you know this, ads? Like, she was sent me a message abusing me for getting traded to the Lions, and now we're here. Like, it's been such
No, I actually got on the radio. I got on the radio with Kingy and Corns. I don't know, on SEN, right? And I was like, I called up. I was like, Dad, I think I'm going to get through. So I called up, and I was really upset that they had put you in a position where you wanted to be traded. So I called in, and I was filthy at them that Joshy was requesting a trade, and I was disgraced in it. But it wasn't until you accepted my friend request that you could actually see my messages on Instagram where they're like, don't go, stay with us. Don't do it, Josh.
Well, speaking of
so funny.
speaking of the messages, you mean you do love myself and Josh that much that can you confirm to us that the car that you and Troy, so you and Troy obviously have a car each. Is it true that the number plates, one of them says ads 01 and the other one says, is it Dunks 05?
You wish it did. You're pretending now. You're pretending. You requested that. You said do it.
I did not.
You've been driving around in the Bondmobile, and you're like, "Why have you got Bond number plates when you sponsor me? You need ads number one."
Oh wow, you are too good. You are friggin' too good, and you're not wrong. You've also got, for what it's worth, Troy, who your wonderful husband, who doesn't really like footy too much, but he loves Dustin Martin.
He's NRL. He's a massive NRL boy.
And he loves Dustin Martin, so his number plate, Dusty.
Yes.
Too good. Josh, you and I need to get number plates for Brooke.
Yeah, we should just get number plates.
Bloomies. Imagine driving around with Bloomies on the back.
Bloomies 1, Bloomies 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if we win the flag this year, Brooke, if we win the flag, I promise
you promise. You promise.
I promise you right now, I'll get that on my car. I'll get that number plate.
And maybe a tattoo or something.
It's been good. It's been a great chat.
I predicted Lions finish, top of the ladder, Dogs win the grand final.
Yeah, well, they can't always win. I'm sick of supporting Josh come the last week. I'm not sick of it because I'm very proud of him always, but sometimes I wish it was me. So
it's going to be a very good game this weekend, I think.
It will be.
It is going to be. Hey, Brooke, before we move on, and thanks again for coming on. We just wanted to, a little bit of a lighter note. We know that up here in Brizzy, you yourself, obviously Brookes Blooms, and Ash and Leah are doing a special thing for Malia, I think her name is. So did you want to talk to us a little bit about that and, let our fans know what they can do to get involved?
So up in Brisbane, Abby, who is your number one ticket holder for the Brisbane Lions, B105, Abby, Stav and Matt, they have jumped on board and are supporting a beautiful family in Brisbane, Malia and Mahalo, and their two young boys. Malia has got a terminal illness and she's fighting a big battle at the moment, and Lee and Ash have decided that they're going to renovate the entire house. So full block style, 2 weeks to renovate an entire home. And we've jumped on board and we're going to do the landscaping. So Ella's done a beautiful design and the team have been there since Thursday last week. It's all hands on deck. There's so many volunteers. Our major supplier, Centenary Landscapers, jumped on board as well and donating all of the materials. And we are going to build a beautiful space for Malia and her family, one where the boys can play in the backyard, lots of lawn, a swing set, and something that is bringing a lot of joy to me and the Brookes Blooms team to be able to give back to this family. So if you would love to donate, there is a GoFundMe page that has been set up. You can get onto the Brookes Blooms Instagram page and there is a link in our bio to be able to donate. I know the Lions boys are heading out there tomorrow. Link McCarthy and Noah Anderson are going to be there. The Firebirds are coming along as well. I'm not sure who's going to be there. But yeah, it's just a great cause and something that we're super lucky to be involved in. Such a sad thing, but yeah, hopefully on Friday, which is the reveal day, we can bring some smiles to the families' faces.
Firstly, that's amazing, Brooke. That's just some of the amazing things that you do. But I feel like, it speaks volumes of you as a person, and clearly, Brookes Blooms and everyone involved. It's going to be really cool to see how it pans out. I'll be looking forward to that. I wish I was up there. I'd well and truly go down and have a look. So well done on everything you're doing there. Not too sure how long we got left because we could probably talk for another hour, let's be honest. But I want to ask you,
get on with talking footy.
Give us a prediction for this round. So obviously the Blooms Cup. Unfortunately, I won't be playing, which sucks. But give us a prediction score. How many touches does Josh have? I know you're going to say the Bulldogs win. How much do we win by? Just give us your whole rundown.
I think Dogs win by 3. Josh has 32 touches, kicks 1 goal. Zach Bailey probably go 3 goals. Can we say Sando kicks 4, maybe?
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, let's jump on the Sando bandwagon. But maybe Harmsy kicks a few. We're going to get some small forwards kicking a few bags, I think. Keep kicking it to Das. We've got to get it happening somewhere else. But Joshy will no doubt have an awesome game. But I wish you were there, Ads. I hope that you get better soon and we see you out there real soon.
All right, Brooke, thanks for joining us. As always, we know that you do so many amazing things in general, but you're doing an amazing thing, and we'll put that link up across all our socials so that people out there and our fans can donate. But once again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Love you lots. Bye.
Love you.
Go Dogs.
All right, Adzie, another special guest in Brookie. We obviously appreciate all the support she gives us, and it was great to chat to her. Awesome for her to jump on, even though it was pretty late over there in New Zealand.
I reckon we're going to say this every week with our guests, but just feel like you could talk forever. Usually I do talk forever, so it's hard to rein me back in because especially with someone so special like Brooke is to us. She's a wonderful person. And Troy as well. Hopefully on the potty you can hear him yelling in the background because he was yelling a couple of things. But yeah, very, very, very thankful for them both. Get into our tips. I believe as you cut me off before we brought on Brooke, I feel like I'm winning the tips. I don't know if I am, but I feel like I am.
We'll get Brado to tell us a bit later on. But it's a cracking round, this one. Gather round. Mm-hmm. We talked about it last year. We were both involved. Unfortunately, you're not going to be there this year, but it is one of the best things I reckon the AFL have done in the last couple of years in terms of getting every team into Adelaide, all our fans, everyone's there. Like, it's just an unbelievable vibe. So I'm actually really excited to get down there. We leave Thursday to play Saturday afternoon. So it's going to be awesome to see everyone and spend some time in Adelaide.
It will be, and I'm very envious of you all. I have one suggestion for Gather Round, and I never bring anything up. So you know this is
big.
Something. Is it too hard to make Gather Round a floating fixture where you can adjust the matchups rather than have them set? The reason why I say this, and I understand 8-9 day breaks, all this stuff, I understand it might be a bit hard. The reason why I say this is when the reigning premiers in you boys, the Brisbane Lions, are playing at Norwood Oval and they're not playing at Adelaide Oval, it just blows my mind. It really blows my mind. So is there any way we could potentially do a floating fixture?
You said reigning premiers. Like, they would have known that we were reigning premiers when they were doing the fixture. So they clearly put us out there at Norwood. But, hey, we played at Norwood last year, and to be honest with you, it was an unbelievable atmosphere. Like, it's such a sick ground to play at. I know, talking to Luke Beacon actually today, who played Sandford before getting drafted to us mid-season last year. He's like, everyone in the Sandford wants to play at Norwood in a night game or a twilight game because it's such a cool atmosphere. So I'm not complaining. Like, Adelaide Oval is good, but to be playing at Norwood again is pretty special.
Well, shut down my suggestion straight away, which is fair because I shouldn't come up with them. You're better at them. Fair enough. Fair enough, my friend. Get into the tips, mate. You can lead us through this.
Righto. So the first game Thursday night, 7:10, I think it is. Adelaide v Geelong. Who you got? This is a cracking game.
It is Adelaide. Oof. Geelong played there. Geelong play in Adelaide very well. I think they're one of the teams that always plays Adelaide well. But no, I'm on your boys' bandwagon. I feel like the Crows will be too strong over there. Big crowd for them as well.
Yep, I think they'll bounce back after a disappointing result last week. Obviously, they got robbed in the end, but I'll tip the Crows as well. Collingwood v Sydney on Friday night. Who you got?
Next week, for what it's worth, next week on the potty, can you come on with the Adelaide Crows scarf if they win? Because the way that you're talking about them, you genuinely feel like you're their number one ticket holder. But yeah, so you got to come on next week. Collingwood Sydney. Ooh, mate, the way Collingwood are playing at the moment, playing some good footy, and go Collingwood.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another cracking game. Could go either way. I think Sydney play Adelaide Oval well, and they're sort of getting back to some of their better footy, I feel. They dominated North Melbourne last week. I'm going to tip the Swans. I'll tip the Swans to beat the Pies this week.
That's a big
There's
call.
a different one for you.
Big call.
Saturday, midday, 12:05, is it? 12:05. Wow. North Melbourne v the Gold Coast Suns out in the Barossa.
Yeah, well, look, the way the Gold Coast are playing, I will say when North have been challenged, like externally, which they have been this week, they've seemed to bounce back. So I'm very interested to see how they go in this game against probably one of the hottest teams in the comp at the moment. But I do think Gold Coast will be a bit too good, and that'll make them 4-0 if they win, which I believe they probably would never have been. So Gold Coast.
Yep, I'll tip the Suns as well. The next one is Carlton v West Coast Eagles at Adelaide Oval.
Wow, this is massive. So they're both winless. So there's 3 winless teams, Carlton, Melbourne. This is huge. Oh, this is massive. I think Carlton. I think the obvious tip is Carlton, but you just wouldn't be surprised, if West Coast got the job done.
I'm just looking at some team stats here.
I
feel like the Blues will win, but as you said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles somehow get it done because both teams, obviously Carlton have been challenged in the media a lot, but West Coast got challenged after the Giants game last week big time. So I'm sure they'll be ready to make amends after that. But I'll tip the Blues. I think they'll get their first win of the year.
I agree.
Then it's our game in the twilight slot we'll talk about after. And then Melbourne v Essendon at night at Adelaide Oval. Who you got there? It's another cracker.
It is. Melbourne haven't won yet, so they'll be desperate. I'm going to go Melbourne. Essendon are coming off, obviously, a bye. Probably, they'll be... Oh, am I going to go Melbourne? Yep, I'll go Melbourne because, again, they're a team that's been challenged and they'll come out and... Yep, I'm going to go Melbourne.
All right, I'll go against you. I'm going to tip Essendon.
Okay.
I feel like the Bombers will get that one done. Sunday, Richmond v Freo out in the Barossa again.
No, Richmond have definitely... Freo, I should say, have found their mojo. I feel like they'll be too strong. Another great opportunity for Richmond, though. But Freo too strong.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. Saints v the Giants, Norwood Oval on
Great
Sunday.
Great game. This is... They both play, on offense, would say somewhat similar styles. Saints probably kick it a little bit more because the Giants like to run in waves. But, this is a great game. This would be a great test for St Kilda to see where they're at, considering they've won 3 in a row. I think the Giants will be too strong, but I reckon it'll be a cracking game. I'll go the Giants.
I can't remember last year. I think the Giants played Freo from memory, and it was a cracking game. And I can't remember who won that game, but whoever did, I think it might have been the Giants. So I feel like they'll play Norwood well with their chipping game. They'll be able to move the footy. It is a skinnier ground than most grounds that we've ever played on. So I'm sure it'll be a challenge for them at times, but the contest will back them in. And I think the Giants will get the job done. The last game of the round is Port v Hawthorn, which is a big one because I know, we've got Kenny Hinkley v Jack Ginnivan after all the drama that happened last year. I'm sure it's going to be a big crowd, and Port are going to want to make amends. Well, they beat them last year, but make amends for their sort of early season defeats. But the Hawks are going to be red hot after a bye.
No, they will. And I think last year, was it gather round last year when Hawthorn gave up 2 scores in the last minute for Darcy Byrne-Jones kicked that winner, which was a classic, that game. Look, I just can't bet against Hawthorn at the moment. I can't tip against them. I just think they're too good. And I know this is in Adelaide. And I think actually Will Day, did you hear that? Will Day's out for 3 months, I think it is, which is a huge loss considering how people are starting to really see how good of a footballer he is. And he's a superstar, mate, which is going to be an enormous loss for him. But I think they get James Warple back. But I just can't tip against them. I'm going to go Hawthorn.
Yeah, geez. I think this could go either way. Like Port at home, after all the drama that they've had with the Hinkley Ginnivan stuff, I think they might turn up and beat them. I'm going to back them in. Given it's in Adelaide, it's Adelaide Oval, it's a home game, it's the last game of the round for this year's gather round. Like I reckon there's going to be a bit of an upset here, and Port are going to get the job done.
Big. It's going to be big. Yep. No, I'm going Hawthorn. Our game, mate. Our game.
Rightio.
Give us a bit of a preview, mate. Who you targeting? Who you going after? Which midfielder are you going to try and stop? Libba's been in unbelievable form. You know, he's been playing well.
Yeah, it's going to be.
What are we thinking?
The Brookes Blooms Cup. It's going to be a cracker. It's going to be awesome to be. Yeah, I mean, the doggies. We looked at yesterday, and the stats and the numbers and stuff like that. They're all incredibly positive for you guys. Like you talked about it earlier. Like the way that you've started the year has been really good. Disappointing to lose the 2 games that you have, but mate, all the numbers in that make you look unbelievable. Like, and you are like you've got a great team out there at the moment that are going to play. That are going to fight tooth and nail to get a win. So we're going to have to be at our very best. You know, earlier I was talking about how we're a little bit slow to react on the weekend against the Tigers. If we do that against you boys, like it's going to be hard to stop you because of the way that you move the ball. So it's going to be a great matchup. I'm really excited for it. Shattered that you're not out there. So it's not officially a Brookes Blooms Cup. I guess it is officially, but not when you're not playing. But hopefully later in the year, mate, when you come back up to the Gabba. But looking forward to the challenge. I think it's going to be a great game.
I was just looking at that later on in the year. When is that? That is round 19. There we go. No, hopefully we can have it up there. But no, it will be a good game. We haven't looked at yous quite just yet, but you know, you'd be silly to say that you wouldn't know what to expect because we do know. You clearly are the reigning premiers and the best team in the competition. Haven't lost a game yet, and you've played some really good football. Obviously, I know you've left a little bit out there as you've touched on, but that's they'll be the things that we'll want to focus on in the ways that Richmond have scored against you and how West Coast were able to take it up to you guys early in the game. And I got no doubt we'll look at those areas and hopefully we can do it for longer and give you guys your first loss. That'd be nice. I will be watching. I'll be barracking for you, mate, but I'll be cheering even harder for the Bulldogs. So good luck to you, mate. I hope you go well, but I hope we win.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. It's funny. It's so funny. It's so awkward, but it's not. It's like you're not out there, so we're not going to be playing against each other, but you're going for the team that I'm playing against, and you're going for me. So,
and I never go against.
Let's see what
anyone
happens.
Anyone who watches footy with me, any of my friends who watches me watch you play, they would think that I barrack for Brisbane because how hard I ride each momentum shifts in the game. So it is always the one and only time that I don't when you're playing against us. So when someone comes to try and snipe you off the ball, I'll be cheering real hard.
That's what you were trying to do to me last year, mate. Line me up. Chirp me and I was just giving you nothing, remember?
The year before, wasn't it? Wasn't it the year before?
Both, I reckon.
When what happened? Someone kicked a goal when you were
remember.
Walking back to the centre bounce and I was running towards, but yeah, look how that panned out. I'm missing the first 6 games and you're a reigning premier. How good's that? Anyway, move on. Actually, no, before you do the curly question and then bring Brado on, I want to ask you, Queen Elizabeth, mate, it's on this weekend.
Oh, this week.
It is an unbelievable race, one of my favourite races. The barrier draw's been drawn. One of my favourite horses in horse racing at the moment, VS16 is running. She is a joy to watch. Fangirl as well. Who's your pick? Give me your pick.
Oh, I think it's a tough one. Like, where did Tom Kitten draw? Tell me where Tom Kitten drew.
Barrier 5.
Not bad. I'm a big fan of Tom Kitten. VS16 is going to be very, very hard to beat. But
Barrier 1,
I'll go an outsider. If I'm going to tip an outsider, it's going to be either Tom Kitten or Fangirl.
I'll tell you, I'm with you. I love Fangirl. I'll tell you who is a good one to get on as well. I can never pronounce it. Cheowolf? CEO.
Wolf, yep.
Cheowolf. Good horse. All right, so who you tipping? You're tipping VS16 and Fangirl. Beautiful. Can't wait to Can't wait for one of those two horses to be my Brookes Bloom of the week because that's all I seem to be doing at the moment.
Curly question of the week, mate. I actually didn't come up with one, but I've got one that off the top of my head, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time, right? So tell me what you do in a situation where you've got a next door neighbor that has moved out. The rent sign's gone up for rent, or the actual house itself sold a little bit, maybe a month or two ago. So the rent sign's gone up. Would you mow their lawns for them if you were me?
Knowing how connected
the front nature strip, I'm talking.
Yes, I would.
You would?
Because it's all connected. Yeah, I would. Would you?
Well, I haven't yet, but it's starting to get a bit overgrown, and I'm thinking, well, I thought I would ask Ads because last week he said he didn't pick up his dog poo, and this week I'm just asking to see if he'd mow your neighbour's lawn if they weren't there.
I copped a lot of hate for that, and that was a genuine over-exaggeration because I would say I'd say 10% of the time I didn't. You know what? Tomorrow at training, when I bring Sonny to the under-17, because he comes to all my sessions, he takes a big dirty shit on the oval, and I pick it up every time. I'm gonna film myself, and I'm gonna send it through to you and Brado. Because I do it every week.
I'll post it on. I'll post it on the socials, mate.
Please do. But to answer your question, yeah, I do because I had a connecting nature strip in my old house, and I used to mow that bit every time. So yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll do it. I'll do it then. Brado, you got any thoughts on that?
It's a slippery slope because I'm on the other side where I've had my neighbor do it for me before, and now I know if I just let it get long, he'll come out and mow it for me. So it's a slippery slope, but different circumstance for you because if they're moving out, then it's a bit different. But no.
I don't know if they've actually moved out yet.
It's a bit weird what if they come out of their house and you're mowing their lawn?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Well, there's a conversation starter right there, mate. If you don't know your neighbour, you will now.
That's weird for them. That's weird for them. Anyway.
Not at all.
I have a couple of things for you. First, tipping. This is do or die kind of stuff now. Like there's a couple of...
Already?
Yeah, different picks in this one. I'm going to say it because you're 5 behind. So adds your 5 out in front. You're almost around. That's almost around. That's a hard margin to make up. I want to get your thoughts on the Melbourne Storm taking over the MCG while you lads are over in Adelaide for Gather Round. They're looking at either next year or the year after. Do you reckon that's smart? I reckon they can fill it.
My answer is yes. I think it would be very smart by the NRL to do. And secondly, I do, yes. Melbourne Storm get a lot of fans. So yes, my answer will be yes to that, Brado.
That's good.
They should get the Broncos down there.
Oh, that's
Melbourne
a good call.
beat Broncos.
That's what it'd be. It'd have to be a big blockbuster, like big powerhouse Sydney or Queensland team.
I like that. No, I reckon the NRL are doing some smart things of late. They're catching up to us. Now
there has been that debate, Brado. There's that AFL NRL debate that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, they're just doing stuff that's good for the game, even if it's not commercially a success. They're still doing stuff that's just for the... Anyway, we could go into that conversation. I went down a slippery slope from the start of this podcast about the Kolkata Cricket Club because
here we go.
You said you wondered where the name came from. Now, I was surprised that you guys didn't know that Kolkata was a place in India, but that's maybe you skipped that class at school. But the Kolkata Cricket Club, now there's a Kolkata Cricket Club restaurant based in Calgary, Canada, and I couldn't find if they were linked, but surely they got to be linked. Otherwise, there's a bit of IP stealing going on there. But they think that they got their name from the Kolkata Cricket Club, which is, and this is the most frustrating part, the second oldest sporting club in the world.
Oh,
so
interesting.
My obvious then rabbit hole that I went down was what was the oldest?
Who's the oldest
sporting club? And I cannot find it.
Here we go.
No, I can't find it. So I've been searching for it for so long. So anyone out there that's listening to this, if they know what the club is that's older, because I put in oldest sporting club in the world and it only comes up with football. So then, just so you know that, the oldest football club is Sheffield FC, and they were founded back in, if my internet would load, that would be sick, please.
Look, the other one having internet problems. Love it.
They were founded in 1857, right? But the Melbourne Football Club is known to be the oldest still professional football club in the world and was founded in 1858. So Sheffield FC's third division. I mean,
team over in England.
Yeah, no hate to them. But Melbourne Football Club, professional, highest standard football team, oldest football team in the world. Pretty crazy.
Not bad.
It's crazy.
Sounds like you've had a good 45 to an hour, right? So
yeah,
thanks.
I went down a real rabbit hole there. But if someone can tell me what the oldest sporting club is in the world, that would be awesome. Surely Kolkata had to have someone to play against. Otherwise, how are you a sporting club with no teams to first? I don't know, but I couldn't find it. So if someone can find that would be sick. Anyway, that's all I got.
Please do. Please, for our listeners, for Brado's peace of mind, find it because he's going to be
I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. This is the worst news I've heard since you said that you leave your dog shits out. The amount of dog shits I walked past this week, and I was like, am I weird if I take a photo of this dog shit and then send it in the group chat? I don't care about you, but it's more if someone saw me taking a photo of taking this shit and then they're taking a photo of me taking a photo of shit and then I'm on some website or something. So anyway, that's all I got.
Oh, thanks, Brado.
What an end. What an end to the podcast. If you do find that oldest sporting club, make sure you send it through to us and we'll give you our giveaway for next week. So hit us up on it, whether it is socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is, make sure you let us know. So another great Adsy. Thanks for jumping on, mate. As always, we love doing this and, yeah, look forward to seeing you next week, mate.
You too, mate. Good luck. Go the Bulldogs. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.